bureaucracy, and this is as predictable as daylight and darkness.
California Governor Gavin Newsom sounding the alarm tonight over President Trump's move to send at least 100 federal agents to the Bay Area for what's being described as a major immigration operation. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. As word came down earlier today about this surge in federal agents, many state and local leaders spoke out and denounced the move. KTVU's Crystal Bailey is joining us live tonight. And Crystal, these agents are expected to arrive sometime soon at a Coast Guard base in the Bay Area.
That's right, Alex. Everything has been pretty quiet at that base today, but sometime tomorrow we're anticipating more than 100 federal agents here in the Bay Area.
The news out of a federal operation out of Coast Guard Base Alameda sparking a reaction from Bay Area leaders who are already developing response plans for the immigration enforcement we've seen at courthouses for the last few months. It doesn't come as a surprise. The president warned over the weekend that San Francisco was on his list.
San Francisco was truly one of the great cities of the world. And then 15 years ago, it went wrong. It went woke.
The Coast Guard saying in a statement, through a whole of government approach, we are leveraging our unique authorities and capabilities to detect, deter, and interdict illegal aliens, narco-terrorists, and individuals intent on terrorism or other hostile activity before they reach our border. And with more federal agents, we can expect to see the National Guard also deployed to support immigrant operations, something California Democrats are condemning. Governor Gavin Newsom saying these actions are straight out of a dictator's handbook.
It's the authoritarian playbook. You announce your intention to send the military to streets, doing domestic policing operations. You wildly overstate or completely make up crime statistics that are not real, that do not justify such action. And for this administration, you send first masked men to the cities that you want to militarize.
What our cities need, we need comprehensive commitments to ending both poverty and violence. Sending in our troops is not how we get there.
And after filing its fourth brief in the U.S. Supreme Court, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie says they have a plan in place, signing an executive order today meant to protect the immigrant population.
We are prepared. Our public safety agencies are trained and coordinated. Our critical infrastructure departments, including our hospitals, schools, and transportation systems, are ready.
San Francisco leaders expressed fears among Black and brown residents.
What we've been preparing for in the mission is essentially a shutdown, the likes of which we haven't seen since COVID.
And there's no official word on the timing of when those agents will arrive. Community organizations and immigrant support services are on standby, Alex, and officials are asking anyone who chooses to protest to remain peaceful.
All right, obviously a story we will continue to follow in the Bay Area. Crystal, thank you for that. Today, federal prosecutors charged a social media influencer who was shot by ICE agents in Los Angeles yesterday. Authorities say 44-year-old Carlitos Parias is an undocumented immigrant. He was charged with assault on a federal officer after authorities say he tried to ram the agent's vehicles with his car as he was evading arrest. A U.S. Marshal was also shot, but they're expected to survive. Parias is well known in the community and on TikTok for live streaming ICE operations. California Governor Gavin Newsom is mobilizing the National Guard to support California's food banks as the government shutdown increases concern about food insecurity. Governor Newsom is calling this a humanitarian mission and says that he is fast-tracking $80 million in emergency funding, in addition to deploying the National Guard to work at food banks statewide. The Second Harvest Food Bank of Silicon Valley says it's bracing for the worst.
I think with the cuts to SNAP and the government shutdown and the loss of pay, we expect our lines to grow longer. So that is what we are preparing for.
The governor's office says they'll use the template they built during the COVID-19 pandemic, which has National Guard troops helping with planning, packing, and distributing meals. Former President Barack Obama is urging voters in California to back Proposition 50 on the November ballot. That's the Democrats' redistricting effort. The former president joined with Governor Newsom today during what's being called a nationwide volunteer call. They framed the proposed amendment as a way to counter President Trump's efforts to skew the 2026 midterm elections in favor of Republicans.
A lot of us do not believe that politicians should choose their voters. They believe the voters should choose who's going to represent them. The problem that we are seeing right now is that our current president and his administration is explicitly saying that we want to change the rules of the game midstream in order to insulate ourselves from the people's judgment.
California voters will be deciding on Prop 50 coming up on November 4th. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley today ended a marathon speech on the Senate floor in protest of President Trump's policies. The Democrat held the floor for over 22 hours, a new record for the longest floor speech given by an Oregon senator. During his speech, Merkley said, quote, "Tyranny has arrived," referencing President Trump.
Are the freedoms deteriorating? Well, one freedom is to criticize the president without the power of the state coming after you. And yet the power of the state is now coming after the people on Trump's enemies list.
Democratic Senator Cory Booker broke the all-time record for longest continuous floor speech back in April. Booker, who was also protesting President Trump's policies, broke the record that was set 68 years ago by then Senator Strom Thurmond of South Carolina. The state of Arizona is suing House Speaker Mike Johnson over his refusal to seat a newly elected member of Congress. Adelita Girjalva won a special election late last month to replace her late father in the House. But Speaker Johnson says he won't swear her in until the government shutdown ends and the House returns to regular session. Arizona's Attorney General says that's unconstitutional and that a duly elected member cannot be denied office just because Congress isn't meeting. In that lawsuit, Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays wrote, quote, "By blocking Adelita Girjalva from taking her rightful oath of office, he is subjecting Arizona's 7th congressional district to taxation without representation. I will not allow Arizonans to be silenced or treated as second-class citizens in their own democracy." Democrats point out that Girjalva would be the last signature needed to force a vote on releasing the Epstein files. House Speaker Johnson denies the holdup is related to Epstein. Yesterday, he called the lawsuit absurd and criticized Attorney General Mays for filing it. The city of San Diego is proposing a new tax on short-term vacation rentals. Supporters say this will generate more than $100 million for the city. But as Fox 5's Jamie Chambers reports tonight, critics are worried that it could do more harm than good.
In an attempt to raise $135 million for the city of San Diego, Councilmember Sean Ila Rivera is proposing a new tax on short-term vacation rentals and for out-of-towners holding second homes that stand vacant.
This very simple premise that if you choose to take a home away from a San Diegan and make it a vacation home or a hotel instead, there's a cost associated with that, and you need to pay your fair share.
The city council member says this proposal raises money and starts to correct what he believes are social consequences from the pressure of tourism and out-of-town wealth.
Every home that we take off the market as a home increases the scarcity of housing, which increases the pricing of housing, which makes San Diego a less affordable place to live.
That means under this plan, investors who own long-term rentals would not be touched.
No homes of San Diegans are going to be taxed here. If this is a place that a San Diegan calls home, the tax does not apply.
We reached out to the San Diego Short-Term Rental Alliance, but have not heard back. This proposal is expected to see widespread pushback from the San Diego Chamber of Commerce and other business associations, arguing the cost will push tourism costs up, hurting vacationers and quieting tourism.
San Diego does not need to sell itself out to be a prime tourist destination. San Diego was a premier tourist destination before Airbnb was even a concept. San Diego was a premier tourist destination before the owners of Airbnb were even born.
This proposal will be first heard in front of the city council chambers tomorrow. That would be Wednesday. If it does gather steam and passes through the city council, a ballot measure could be placed and voted on as early as 2026. From City Hall, I'm Jamie Chambers.
Well, Silicon Valley-based Meta says it's cutting around 600 AI employees. The company sent a memo to employees today These job cuts come after a hiring spree for Facebook's parent company and a $14.3 billion investment in AI back in June. Meta says the layoffs fix what they describe as an overcorrection, as it says the company has hired too many people to try to get ahead in the AI game. All of the cuts come from Meta's AI research sector. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, questions continue to surround the death of a former NFL player during an arrest in Oakland. Still ahead tonight, what the family of Doug Martin is doing to try to find answers. Also, some community members in Tacoma, Washington, speaking out about the city's decision to expand a public camping ban.
And in weather, here's our live camera looking out toward the San Francisco Bay Area. There's San Francisco in the distance. We will update the West Coast Wrap forecast coming up after the break.
The family of former NFL running back Doug Martin is allowing neurologists to test his brain for CTE. Martin died in Oakland police custody on Saturday after he allegedly broke into a neighbor's home while suffering a medical emergency. Martin's brain is reportedly being preserved for those tests, which could take several weeks. CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy, can cause erratic behavior and severe mental illness. It's been connected to repeated head trauma and has been found in hundreds of former NFL players in recent years. Martin's family says he had been struggling with mental health issues before his death. In Washington, the city of Tacoma has voted to expand its ban on camping within the city limits. The current ban prohibits camping within a 10-block radius of a shelter, rivers, streams, and other waterways. The expanded ban, approved last night, prohibits camping within 2 blocks of parks, playgrounds, and libraries. At the city council meeting last night, community members voiced their concerns, with many saying this will negatively affect vulnerable people.
The city's camping bans have created excessive barriers to accessing care by scattering the population at risk.
I hear that some folks complain about encampments. It's hard to be reminded of your privilege and how tenuous every currently housed person's situation is, but that does not mean that we should make life harder for people living outside. That is the definition of punching down.
Under the new ordinance, a violator would have the opportunity to be referred to a therapeutic court. The San Francisco Giants have hired a new manager, and their selection is raising eyebrows in the baseball world. The Giants are hiring Tennessee Volunteers head coach Tony Vitello. This will be his first job in the major leagues. The 47-year-old Vitello will be the first to jump directly from college to be a major league manager without professional experience. The Giants are set to hold a news conference next week to officially introduce Vitello as the team's manager. And the Los Angeles Angels hired their former catcher, Kurt Suzuki, as the team's manager. The 42-year-old played 16 seasons in the majors, winning a World Series with the Washington Nationals in 2019 and retiring with the Angels in 2022. Suzuki has spent the last 3 years as a special assistant to the team's general manager. This will be Suzuki's first professional coaching job. Well, tonight the NFL is defending its decision to select Bad Bunny as the performer for the Super Bowl halftime show, which is coming up at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California this year. Commissioner Roger Goodell today rejected calls to drop the Puerto Rican superstar from the halftime show. Some conservatives have criticized the decision, calling Bad Bunny, quote, un-American. Today, Goodell said that he stands by the choice.
It's carefully thought through. I would say that I'm not sure we've ever selected an artist where we didn't have some blowback or criticism. It's pretty hard to do it when you have literally hundreds of millions of people that are watching.
Goodell said he believes the halftime show will be an exciting and uniting moment for the country. Critics of the choice say there is an alternative halftime show that is being planned, put on by the conservative group Turning Point USA. Well, the Trump administration is easing restrictions on copper mining across the U.S., all in an effort to make the industry more competitive. Fox's William Lajeunesse visited the Resolution mine in Arizona, where the opening has been delayed due to opposition from environmentalists and Native American tribes.
Is it risky? Yeah. I mean, obviously, you're traveling at 500 feet a minute down a 7,000-foot hole. Anything's possible, right?
At the bottom, one of the world's largest undeveloped copper mines. But for 12 years, litigation, politics, and red tape stopped it from opening.
Every day we delay this project is every day that we continue to depend on foreign sources of copper.
In that bucket, that material ore.
The U.S. imports 50% of its copper. This mine alone could cut that by half.
4,000 American jobs, $1 billion into Arizona's economy for decades.
In Superior, Arizona, where the unemployment rate is 3 times the state average, many welcome the mine.
The economy, the community, the town, I think it'll help to bring more people together.
It's not just drill, baby, drill. We've got a mine, baby, mine in this country.
In the last 25 years, the U.S. opened just 3 new mines, according to S&P Global. The Biden administration blocked 4 major mines. Trump is moving aggressively in the opposite direction.
Moments ago, I also signed an executive order to dramatically increase production of critical minerals.
Fast-tracking 28 projects to extract dozens of rare minerals to counter China, including Resolution in Arizona.
So unlike a strip mine where you can see the trucks and the bulldozers, the copper here is so deep, mile underground, that they will use explosives to collapse the ceiling, collect the ore, then send it to the surface and rail cars for processing.
Congress approved the project in 2014, but members of the San Carlos Apache tribe sued, claiming the area is sacred.
This is a real critical area that needs to be protected.
The tribe lost, but members filed a new claim, again tying the project up in court.
To actually get this mine going for the local area, it's huge.
Developing a new mine in the U.S. takes on average 29 years, much of that trying to overcome regulatory barriers and legal challenges. Now, despite Trump's efforts, Resolution remains tied up in the courts. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
All right, turning now to talk about our weather across the West. A live look here at downtown San Francisco, and we are seeing a big cool down in many places. Let's bring in KTVU's chief meteorologist, Mark Tamayo, with a look at the forecast. Hey, Mark.
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, I'm starting to see the activity kind of ramp up in the Pacific over the next several days. In fact, we are watching this atmospheric river develop over the next couple days by Friday and into Saturday. So the main focus with this system will be up in the Pacific Northwest and up into Northern California. By the time it reaches Monterey Bay, just some light showers possible. So clearly the main focus of the atmospheric river will be up in areas to the north. In fact, here's the forecast model the next several days right on into the weekend, and those numbers really going up for Eureka, Portland, and Seattle. You notice San Francisco, that number goes down quite a bit, and still dry in Southern California. So here's a look at the current satellite and the radar. There's actually a weak system kind of making its way across California, approaching Nevada. This circulation earlier today producing a lot of clouds for the San Francisco Bay Area, and also tracking some rain showers moving outside of the Phoenix area just over the past few hours. As we move the maps right now, here's some of the coverage in parts of California. Looks like the shower activity has been diminishing over the past few hours. And then up in Portland and Seattle, some radar activity, especially closer to the Seattle area. But here's a look at that system offshore here. This is the atmospheric river developing. It's basically an area of concentrated water vapor. Where it lands, that's where you get a lot of rainfall, and that'll be happening over the coming days, beginning Friday and into the weekend for a place like Seattle. This was a scene in Seattle today, picking up some cloud cover, a temperature of 62 degrees earlier this afternoon. San Francisco, kind of a sun-cloud mix with more clouds out there, 66 degrees, and then in Southern California, showing you some sunshine at LAX, a temperature in the 70s, 74. As we take a look at the current numbers out there right now, it is 83 degrees in Phoenix, Las Vegas in the upper 70s, and Seattle, kind of the cool part of the weather pattern, right now only in the 50s. Here's the plan for tomorrow. The chance of some rain showers in Seattle, some clouds in the morning for San Francisco, pretty much the same story for Los Angeles. It's a nice warm day, comfortable day in Phoenix, and then partly cloudy skies and a slight chance of a shower in Denver. Here's how the forecast model sees it. It does bring in the cloud cover up in Seattle and the possibility of some showers. And then also you can see some action kind of flaring up across parts of Colorado, so that could impact the Denver forecast for tomorrow with about a 20 to 30% chance of some showers showers in their forecast. And then this is the storm coming on board for Friday up in places like Portland, up in Seattle. So this is the Friday forecast. And just get ready. The rainfall definitely making a comeback for that part of the West. Forecast highs for tomorrow. In fact, your forecast over the next 3 days. We talked about the weather, the rainy weather up in Seattle. San Francisco will have a sun-cloud mix with some rain chances by Saturday. Southern California, partly cloudy skies. We'll bring in some more clouds for Denver, especially tomorrow afternoon. And Phoenix, remember all those days we talked about temperatures over 100 degrees? Looks like those readings only in the mid to upper 80s. So they get a break in the heat, as they should, over the coming days. Alex.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Thank you. Yeah. All right, coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, if you're into classic horror movies, then Seattle's Museum of Pop Culture is the place to be this weekend. Still ahead tonight, we'll have a preview of their big Halloween bash that's happening in just a few days. Uber is offering incentives for drivers to go green. The San Francisco-based rideshare company will offer $4,000 grants to drivers who switch from gas-powered cars over to electric vehicles. It's only available to drivers in high-demand markets, including California, New York, Colorado, and Massachusetts. It's also rebranding its Uber Green category of rides to call it Uber Electric. There are more than 200,000 EVs in Uber's network worldwide. Finally, tonight, Seattle's Museum of Pop Culture, or MoPop, is getting ready for its annual Halloween party happening this weekend. As Fox 13's Abby Acone shows us tonight, the theme this year is 80s and 90s cult horror films.
The Scared to Death exhibit here at MoPop celebrates the horror genre in truly some of the most horrifying ways possible. Look at these behind me. These guys are actual faces from The Walking Dead. Now, this exhibit, it's open year-round, it's permanent, but it gets extra popular this time of year. This immersive experience features more than 50 authentic props and costumes spanning over a century of horror cinema. The spooky visuals and sound effects here really get your adrenaline pumping, can confirm. Visitors can listen to insights from film directors, go back in time to their favorite horror films, and explore artifacts from iconic franchises.
We designed this gallery to really feel immersive. You know, we have a fully on-staff fabrication team and design team, so they really put their best foot forward to give you all the blood, all the gore, all the steak knives, all of the bodies down here to really give a horror feeling and to give that trilling, that kind of is somebody behind me type of sensation with the different sounds and stuff down here. So we really want to make it special to feel like you're in a favorite horror film.
We talked to an associate curator at MoPop about the significance of the horror genre and some of the bigger themes that arise.
When people talk about horror being that feminist genre, it's thinking about how a woman is defeating, a man, defending herself and defending her friends and having that power and that strength to fight back. And them surviving that to tell their story and their legacy as heroes. And horror really gives that power and that authenticity and that freedom to women that really makes horror a feminist genre and really special.
There's even a section where you can practice your spookiest screams. I gave it a shot earlier today. MoPop also gearing up for its annual Halloween bash called Fashionably Undead, The Goopening. You can catch it Saturday, 8 p.m. to midnight. Reporting at MoPop, Abby Acone.
All right, that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. Have a good one.